Ishmael, Zimram, Jokshan, Medan, Midian, Ishbak, and Shua in Genesis 25 and 2. Those were the 6 sons by Keturah, along with the 1 son by Hagar the Egyptian, which was Ishmael, along with the prominent son that the promise went through, which was Isaac, who came from Abraham, that he had by Sarah. Okay, so read that again.
All right, verse 7 again, it says, neither because they are the seed of Abraham are they all children.
Right, so just because you came out of the seed of Abraham don't mean you're all children of God, don't mean you're all children of the promise. Read on.
But in Isaac shall thy seed be called.
Notice how this dumbass, he has the scripture here, and then he says, being fleshly Israelite doesn't make you God's children. Meaning on the contrary, in Isaac shall thy seed be called. Who is Isaac? He says he put Yahweh Shai, Yeshua, Yehushua. Who the hell are these? Who are they?
Those idols he worshipped.
I know who Yahweh Shai is, but we don't, who are these other names? Christ, Christo, Jesus, etc. Fleshly Israelites are not the children of God, but the children of God is counted for the seed. Christ is the seed. This is a parable, my brother, a contradiction to the unlearned. He likes throwing his word unlearned around like he knows something. Nigga, you don't know a fucking thing. And you're going to understand that by the time this show is over. Nigga, you bitch. Any damn way. He says, being a fleshly Israelite don't make you a children of God. But then again, he just going to sit there. But then again, right here it says that I shall thy seed be called. Only with the word seed there is in the Greek. Sperma, which goes to an actual physical lineage of people. I ain't going to click on the word. You can clearly see it there. Which goes to an actual physical lineage of people. Sperma. I'm not going to read it. Brothers already know that. You know what I'm saying? Let's go back up and read that again out, and so we can break it down, so brothers get to understand it. Because people will try to bring the scripture out to try to trick you. Read that verse again out.
Verse 7 it says, neither because they are the seed of Abraham are they all children.
Meaning, just because you came out of Abraham don't mean you're all children of God, because Abraham had Isaac. But not only did he have Isaac, he had Ishmael, and then he had the 6 sons by Keturah. So just because you're the seed of Abraham don't mean you're all children of the promise, because Abraham had 6 sons by Keturah and Ishmael, who wasn't the children of the promise. So it don't matter if it came out of Abraham. Because read on.
But in Isaac shall thy seed be called.
But in Isaac shall thy seed be called, because Abraham had 8 sons. But just because those other sons was children of Abraham, don't mean that they're gonna get the promise. Because in Isaac was the seed gonna be called. Keep reading. Which shows you dealing with a fleshly people, physical people, like this, which is contrary to what this idiot said. Go on.
Verse 8. That is.
Why did he say that is? Because Paul is reiterating what he said in the 7th verse again in the 8th verse. Let's look at that word that is. Okay? Look at that word that is. Now if you look at it, it's going to say that is, right? That's what it's going to say. But it says that is to say. In other words, this also. Or meaning this.
Yeah.
Let's click on that and see what they give us in the scriptures. Acts 1:19. And it was known unto the dwellers at Jerusalem, and so much as that field is called in the proper tongue Al-Sadama. That is to say, the field of blood. Why did he say Al-Sadama or Al-Qadama? That is to say, the field of blood. Because that's what that means.
Yeah.
The field of blood. Do we got to click on that too? In other words, that is or that is to say means meaning this. You understand what I'm saying now?
Right.
I know you understand what I'm saying.
Right. Come on.
He don't understand.
Yeah, he don't get it.
When you click on it, hold the volume.
Strong's G 184. Akeldama. Thayer's Lexicon. Second entry. Akeldamach.
Akeldama in the Greek, which means field of blood. That's why when you go back to Acts 1:19, when it says that is to say, it says Al-Qadama, that is to say the field of blood. Because right. Al-Qadama meaning the field of blood. That's why it says that is to say. That's why we clicked on the word that is in the book of Romans 9th chapter and the 8th verse. So what the Apostle Paul is doing in the 8th verse, he's reiterating what he said in the previous verse. In other words, he's saying, read that again now, please.
Right. Neither because they are the seed of Abraham are they all children.
Meaning that because you came out of the seed of Abraham don't mean you're all children of God. Because he had the 6 sons by Keturah, he had Ishmael, and he had Isaac. But they're all children of Abraham. But just because you came out of Abraham don't mean you can be a child of the promise. Because he had the 6 sons by Keturah and Ishmael, who was not a child of the promise. Because why?
But in Isaac shall thy seed be called.
Because Isaac was going to be the one of the children that came out of Abraham that was going to see the promise, not the other 7 sons. So just because they came out of Abraham don't matter, because in Isaac was the seed going to be called. That is to say, or meaning this.
Right.
Meaning I'm going to explain it to you in another. I'm going to explain it to you in an easier way. Read in another way so you can understand it.
They which are the children of the flesh, these are not the children of the Most High.
They which are the children of the flesh, these are not the children of the Most High. That's not talking about Israelites right there, dumbass. It's still talking about the seed of Abraham are the old children. We're going to give scripture to prove that the children of the flesh is talking about the children of Abraham except for Isaac. Right? We got scriptures in there, right?
Right.
I put this up right here to show brothers so they can understand. Paul reiterated what he said in the 8th verse, what he said in the 7th verse. He reiterates it, in the 8th verse. In other words, he says the same thing in the 8th verse, but he says it differently. Because if you pay attention, you'll understand that the beginning of the 7th verse correlates with the beginning of the 8th verse, and the ending of the 7th verse correlates with the ending of the 8th verse. For example, in the beginning of the 7th verse it says, neither because they are the seed of Abraham are the all children. And then in the beginning of the 8th verse it says, that is, they which are the children of the flesh, these are not the children of God. Because the ones that are not children of God were the ones that came out of Abraham, who were not the children of the promise. Those are the ones that were called the children of the flesh, beginning with Ishmael. Then it says, then the ending of the 7th verse says, but in Isaac shall thy seed be called. Then the ending of the 8th verse says, but the children of the promise accounted for the seed, because the children of the promise came through the lineage of Isaac,
right,
who was one of the 8 sons of Abraham, that was a prominent son, because the other 7, they were of Abraham's children, but they were the children of the flesh, those who were not the children of God. You understand that?
Right.
I know you understand, because he reiterates it in the 8th verse as what he said in the 7th verse. So read the 8th verse again.
Right, the 8th verse says, that is, they which are of the children of the flesh, these are not the children of the Most High.
But that's not talking about Israel. We're going to give you a scripture to prove it. That is to say, they are the seed of Abraham, are not all children. That is to say, because they which are the children of the flesh, these are not the children of God, which is dealing with all the other children that came out of Abraham aside from Isaac. And guess what? You can look this up on the web. Now, we've been knew what this meant. I just so happened to look it up like last week. I said, no, let me look it up to see what the so-called scholars say, to see if they go and try to contradict it. And they actually understand what this is talking about. Keep reading.
Right, verse 9 it says,
8.
Oh, I'm sorry, verse 8 again it says, that is, they which are the children of the flesh, these are not the children of the Most High, but the children of the promise are counted for the seed.
What seed? The seed in Isaac that it was going to be called.
Right.
So it says, neither because they are the seed of Abraham are they all children, meaning just because you came out of Abraham does not mean you were a child of God, does not mean you're a child of the promise. Because he had 8 sons, and 6 sons by Keturah, Ishmael and Isaac. But in Isaac shall that seed be called. So, of all the children that came out of Abraham, it didn't matter if those other 7 came out of him, because the seed was going to be called to Isaac. That is, they which are the children of the flesh, these are not the children of God. The same ones that came out of Abraham, that was not considered the children of the promise.
Right.
But the children of the promise accounted for the seed. The seed is talking about who? Isaac. Now, do we have a scripture to prove that the children of the flesh are not talking about Israelites right there? Of course we do. Can you start from the 22nd verse, brother, please?
All right, this is Galatians 4 and 20.
22, I know.
Okay.
I don't,
Okay,
I don't want to spoil it.
All right, Galatians 4 and 22, it says, for it is written that Abraham had 2 sons, the one by a bondmaid and the other by a free woman.
One by a bondmaid and one other by a free woman, right? Who was the bondmaid? Can you read that, brother?
Genesis 16 and 1. Now Sarai, Abraham's wife, bare him no children, and she had a handmaid, an Egyptian, whose name was Hagar.
And that handmaid was talking about who? Hagar. So when you go back to Galatians, the 4th chapter, see if I can find that real quick. You go back to Galatians, the 4th chapter, when it says, for it is written that Abraham had 2 sons, the one by the bondmaid, the other by a free woman. That bondmaid is talking about who? It's talking about Hagar the Egyptian. So we know the free woman is talking about who? Sarai, or her name was changed to Sarah.
Yeah.
So for it is written, Abraham had 2 sons, the one by a bondmaid, the other by a free woman. So the bondmaid was Hagar the Egyptian, and the free woman was Sarah. Go on.
Okay, verse 20.